Good afternoon and welcome to Total SANFL here on this Sunday afternoon. I'm Chris Kendall. We'll be with you for the next hour having a look over the rounds happenings once again. And let's get straight into it. Joining us on the panel today, two of the old sparring partners from the old Friday night Coast FM show. Firstly, Rob Douglas. Rob, thanks for coming in this morning.
Great to be on here yet again, Chris. Wonderful day's football yesterday down at Wollongong Oval. A bit cold, but it was still a great afternoon's entertainment with Cupido kicking 11.
Wonderful entertainment if you're a South Adelaide man. We'll come to that game a little bit later on. And joining us to his right, the old sparring partner of the team is back, Todd Wellington. Todd.
Yes, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, it's a bit odd. I'm sitting right next to him today. I'm usually across the table from him, so we'll see what happens during the next hour.
I haven't seen you for a while. Have you been working out at all?
You're unbelievable, aren't you? Where's your Panthers scarf today?
Yeah, well, I left it home.
Okay.
Well, that's something for Mrs. Douglas to look forward to later on in the afternoon, no doubt at all. Let's have a brief look over some of the games. We'll look more in depth at these later on. North Adelaide getting the Bickies over Glenelg. The Bay is very disappointing. That is two bad games in a row there for Mark Micken, so some real questions being raised at the Bay. West Adelaide almost pulling off the upset of the season there. $10 outsiders for the punters, and they came very close to knocking off Centrals, but Centrals just steadying to take the game by 8 points. And how's this one down at Noarlunga? South Adelaide taking the points over Sturt by 90 points. We'll talk more in depth of these games later on. Rob, you were at the game yesterday. Now, we see the crowd of 1,099 fans reliably here that about 800 were standing in the bar.
Well, I think they must have counted the wheel nuts as well to get that figure 1,099 because it was 79 cars up the northern end and 21 cars at the southern end. You do these things when your team's getting thrashed in football. But, I actually like the idea. It actually does look good, adds a lot of atmosphere, and you got the Panther roar after every goal over the PA system, and so we heard that 5 times in the first 8 minutes. But well done, South Adelaide. It's a very good initiative, and I thoroughly support it. It's a great idea. It gives Noarlunga Oval a different atmosphere. I enjoy it.
Todd, where do we see things for Brenton Phillips at the moment? 100th game as senior coach yesterday, moves into the top 5 of all-time coaches. Where do we see sticks at the moment?
Look, I suppose there's a lot of rumours going around, but it
mainly started by you.
No. Look, Brenton and I go back. Wait, no. I think this is his last year of his contract, and certainly depends on family and work commitments for Brenton. So we'll have to certainly wait and see. I mean, he'd like to coach, but it's whether those other factors get in the way. So we could find that. So at the end of the year, the Double Blues end up finding another coach.
And West Adelaide, that was a fantastic effort, boys. Getting within 8 points of a team that really is the benchmark at the moment. I mean, we'll have Wayne Weidemann on talk later on about this game, but they'd have to be really pleased with that. And the thing is, they had more scoring shots, just perhaps couldn't quite break through. Perhaps they just missed little things at the important times there, West.
Yeah, it was a good effort by West Adelaide. You know, they had to go out to Elizabeth twice this year. They've got a rather unusual draw this year, which it's a bit unlucky, but good effort to get that close to Centrals out there, and maybe with a bit of luck and a bit better forward conversion could have actually got the game. So well done, West Adelaide.
Yeah, certainly good signs there, and you'd think that as the season rolls on, they're going to pick up their share of scalps in the latter half of the season as they start to gel as a unit. Well, I was out at the Prospect Oval yesterday with 1,566 fans. Again, the bar must have been chockers at one point there, because I arrived at half-time. Fair dinkum, boys, I thought I'd arrive at the under-19s game because the outer was absolutely deserted. But North Adelaide did take the points in this one over the Bays. North Adelaide 15-16, 106, defeating Glenelg 9 goals, 9-63. The goal kickers there for North, Howard, Kaysler and Uni 3 each. Hargraves and Laddams 2 apiece for Glenelg. Horan and Mules each kicking 2. The ball hogs there for North Adelaide, Bamford 28, Campbell 27 for Glenelg, Backwell 37, Tom Logan 30. The paper statistics had Matthew Clark as getting 29 hit out, so I had it from the North Adelaide bench for about 45. Glenelg bench had it about 65. Either way, it was a fantastic effort from Matthew Clark. But fellas, Mark Micken must be ripping his hair out at the moment, because where have they gone in the last couple of weeks?
I think there's a coincidence that Richard Douglas has got hurt for Glenelg about a month ago, and since then Glenelg have been a bit wobbly. They built a Nord, but since then they've lost to Sturt, they've lost to the Eagles, lost to Centrals, which are all fairly narrow losses. But no, this loss to North Adelaide yesterday was a bad one. So I think Richard Douglas, as soon as he comes back for Glenelg, that'll turn things around for him a bit.
Yeah, look, Douglas was probably averaging 20, 25 positives a game, and he was actually kicking 2 and 3 goals a game as well. So he's pretty useful. So look, the under-18 championship the last couple of weeks has probably hurt him as well. Gibbs and Seller, and that just proves that they haven't got the depth as the North Adelaide's. I mean, North Adelaide's still got players out, but they're just too deep, North Adelaide.
The other big withdrawal there from was Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that was counteracted by the fact that Nick Gill was a late withdrawal also for North Adelaide. But you still would expect a slightly better effort than that. I mean, 43 points, but if North Adelaide had kicked straight and really been switched on, and I chatted to Andrew Jarman briefly after the game about this, they really could have made that margin 80 or 90 points. So, you know, the North Adelaide on-ball division, just so hard to stop. I mean, you see, you know, the same names in here, Uni, Howard, all these sorts of guys. Even allowing for the fact that Clark was so clearly winning the rucks, it wasn't funny. The North Adelaide on-ball has just read every tap out so well.
Yeah, look, Glenelg showed a little bit just before half-time. They probably kicked a couple of late goals, and if they'd had that same commitment in the third quarter, might have been a little bit different, but then the third quarter was just, one side, and the rest of the game was pretty much after that.
I don't know what Glenelg are going to do with David Mitchell, who was recruited as the star forward a couple of years ago from the VFL. He had big raps in the VFL, you know.
Big raps from who, Robbie?
Everyone in the VFL scene, Todd, as well as myself. And he was expected to be a 70 or 80 goal player, and it hasn't quite worked. I noticed they played him in defence yesterday, Chris. So.
They had him sweeping across half-back along with Justin McConnell. He didn't really look comfortable back there, though. He took a number of the kick-outs, which was unusual. Paul Sherwood generally does that. But the other thing also about the Bays that was a worry, 7 of their 9 goals came in time on.
Okay.
So for 100 minutes there of general football, only 2 goals. That's part of the problem there, and we talked about this last week. Perhaps they do rely almost too heavily already on Bryce Gibbs and James Seller to an extent there.
And that's an issue in itself, because you don't know where they're going to finish up, these guys. And I suppose they need Douglas back, but they're getting nothing around the ball. And obviously North Adelaide had, you know, plenty of ball winners. The clearances was nowhere, well, what was non-existent yesterday.
If it hadn't been for Brett Backwell and certainly Tom Logan, like I said, that margin could have blown right out to very embarrassing proportions there, because some of the North Adelaide players, I mean, we saw Bamford, Uni, Howard, Matt Campbell was outstanding as well, and we did wonder how he'd go without his partner in crime, Daniel Motlop. Well, he tore them to pieces, and he played very accountable defensive football. All of these guys were just getting numbers around the ball so often that a lot of the Glenelg second-tier players looked completely overwhelmed. And without, like I said, McConnell, to an extent, Backwell, Logan, they would have just been absolutely blown off the park.
I noticed you mentioned Dean Howard in your comments then, Chris. Are you think he's a chance for the McGarry medal, perhaps?
I think Dean Howard is a rough chance for the McGarry medal, as a matter of fact, yes. I'm aware that there's been a fair bit of money placed on him in the last few weeks, and yesterday was no exception. I had him as best on ground there for North Adelaide. He really just gives such good work in the clinches and also finishes off with 3 goals. That sort of thing is very telling there.
Yep.
And talking to a couple of North Adelaide people, they're still amazed that West Adelaide let him go.
And also I noticed that Tate Kaiser kicked 3 goals for North as well yesterday. He's having a very good season, North Adelaide. He sort of he was on the fringe with Sturt and then went to North Adelaide, who at the time were struggling, and he's sort of coincided to go in another powerful club. But you know, he's getting a chance this year, 3 goals and played well. Yeah,
I mean, I suppose when he was with Sturt had a pretty stable midfield at the time.
That's right.
But also Hargraves kicked a couple of goals. How's his form looking? Because he hasn't played a lot of footy this year.
Not too bad. He looks like he's still short of a run, and he looks like he's had a reasonable time in the paddock, quite frankly, as well. But he did attack the ball very hard. If he hadn't sprayed a couple of shots there in the first term, he sprayed one to the left, one to the right, and put another couple out in the full. He could have caused a lot of damage there, but he presented very well at the contest. Took a couple of the right knockouts there as well, and he was just doing a lot of the team things and prepared to drift up the ground as well. But give him another 3 or 4 weeks, and he really is going to start running right back into form. Then put Gill in that same lineup. They're going to be very hard to stop.
So you still think he's in their plans come September?
Yeah, I think he'd have to be. He really would have to be. And if nothing else, we do know they played him at centre half back in some of the pre-season games. That gives another wild card there for Andrew Jarman to use, and that's the beauty of North Adelaide. There's so much versatility. They know they can throw blokes around. They can afford to lose a Gill, and they bring in Tate Kaiser as his replacement. He kicks 3 goals, as you alluded to before. That's the beauty of the Roosters at the moment. Glenelg don't have that flexibility at the moment. They lose 2 or 3 players, and even when you bring in a Matthew Clark, they really struggle.
That's the difference between the top 3 and probably the bottom 3, the depth.
And that's really going to hurt there also for that final 5 position, because we know it's between South, Glenelg and Nord. Well, Glenelg have just slipped back another rung, and with South Adelaide playing such good football, Glenelg slipped back a little bit further.
Absolutely, today's game is going to be vital then for Nord.
Yeah, it's going to be a very big game down there, actually.
I was interested to see the duel between Clark and O'Hara. So O'Hara got an absolute toweling from Clark, did he?
I wouldn't say he got a toweling as such. Yes, Clark won many of the hit-outs, but O'Hara did try very hard. Yes, he was beaten on the day, and Wakeland was probably beaten on the day, but they weren't disgraced. I just think it was one of those days where Clark is one of the best tap ruckmen going around in the AFL. When he comes back to SANFL level, it doesn't really matter who you throw at him, he's going to dominate. Clark's work around the ground, however, was much better than the other two guys to an extent. And he got the 14 possessions, crumbed a beautiful goal in the third quarter there late in time on, and was just prepared to present that forward target. Glenelg will be really pleased with that for a first up effort. They may lose him, after next week as well, but he really did show some signs. So if he is delisted at the end of the year, he can come back and certainly add something to them.
Explain the goal. How you said it was like Pele.
He did a very nice job actually. Now I was calling the game for RPH inadvertently, and we'll maybe come to that later on. But the ball went deep into the forward line. Clark came out and tried to attack it on the lead, missed it, turned back in and grabbed it, and just one flick straight onto the boot, goal. It was beautiful. It was beautiful work. I wish we had vision of it actually to show you.
Mr. Magic.
He's added another string to his bow.
A goal-kicking ruckman now.
A goal-kicking, crumbing ruckman. That's something that every team would love to have.
Just more marks he needs.
Still just the one mark?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
are those stats right?
That stat was correct.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Despite any other criticisms I had the stat, that was perfectly correct because it was right in front of us and it was uncontested, unfortunately, Matthew. So he did work very hard though. All credit to him.
Fair enough.
Well, what do you think? Will Glenelg make the finals, Chris?
No.
They won't?
No, pure and simple.
Didn't mess around, did he?
No. They don't have the depth, I don't think, to make the finals. Like, query their mental strength at various times as well. When North Adelaide were really running at them yesterday, a few heads noticeably dropped around the ground. I won't name names, but some guys who you would expect more from, their heads dropped quite quickly. Lee Saunders, who came straight in, did very well, and that shows a little bit about where some of these guys are at. The new recruits are coming straight in, like Clark and Saunders, and showing a bit. A couple of the guys there, they just drop their heads straight away. And this is part of the problem with Glenelg, and we thought that perhaps things had changed this year down there. I'd query whether they have it as long term as possible. And yes, they've run into two very good teams in the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
you're a bit harsh because obviously they've had an okay year. They've had a lot of coaches in the last few years. Mm-hmm. You would have thought the way they've actually played this year, they've actually improved on last year, and that's where you've got to take steps. And I would have thought Mark Micken would be, even though a couple of bad losses now, but if you look back after the year's finished, they've still made steps on last year for sure.
It was the first time yesterday they hadn't led at quarter time all year, so that was an interesting statistic there. But their last 7 quarters have been deplorable. And at the quarter time break, I went out to go and hear the huddles. Mark was fairly reserved with the players and he immediately split them up into the groups, midfield, forwards, all that sort of stuff. Didn't say much to them as a group, which was interesting. He decided to let the leadership group take over, which is fine. It's all about delegating the power and that sort of thing. Whereas Andrew had all of his players in the one huddle and talking to them all on that side of things. But it was just some worrying signs there for some of the more senior players who just dropped their bundle at a bad time. And like I said, 7 goals out of 9 in time on shows an awful lot about their concentration levels in the first 20 minutes of each quarter.
But Brett Backwell, I've seen the stats, 19 kicks and 18 hand passes, continues to do the work every week for Glenelg. Todd, he's so good, isn't he, Brett Backwell? He just never gives up, tries every week. Yeah,
he's a great ball getter, and I'm surprised he hasn't made an AFL list again, because he's had a couple of really good seasons with Glenelg. I suppose, there was rumours he'd leave Glenelg after last season as well, but he stuck around, and he's obviously taken on a bit of a leadership role, and 37 posies in a losing team is a pretty good effort.
At the bottom of almost every pack too, and that was a fair achievement on its own, because Prospect Oval was like a lake at one stage yesterday, and he just came up as muddy as anything, and he really is the heart and soul of them at the moment. He has stepped up another cog since Culprit and nearly departed, been absolutely fantastic with his leadership skills, so very good signs there for North Adelaide, no doubt at all. But just Glenelg, I'm just a bit worried about them at the moment. I really am. I just think
to be honest, I think Backwell's got more chance to win the Magarey than Dean Howard. There's a tip.
We will replay this in the first week of October. Let me assure you, if Dean Howard wins the Magarey medal, Todd will be coming back in to interview Dean. I had the votes in the C31 Player of the Year award. Gave 1 vote to Tom Logan from Glenelg. They did get towed up the bays, but he was absolutely outstanding, and he must be very close to getting the call up off the rookie list for Port Adelaide. Really cool hitting the clinches, and his disposal skills were fantastic. Hardly missed a target all day. 2 votes to Heath Uni for North Adelaide. Again, very underrated. I rate this guy very, very highly indeed, and I know a lot of the upper echelon at the Prospect Oval do also. Just worked very hard off the ball and won many contested possessions. 3 votes to Dean Howard. Again, he just added another dimension to them this year. 3 goals yesterday, but just worked so hard around the ground. Apart from anything else, his leadership there is just absolutely outstanding. So he's been a very good recruit for the Roosters. So 3-2-1 there to Howard, Uni and Logan. When we come back after the break, we'll have a look at the game of Centrals and West Adelaide, and we'll have a chat to West Adelaide coach Wayne Weidemann. You're on Total SANFL this afternoon with Chris Kendall, Rob Douglas and Todd Wellington.
say trafficking, you think of criminal gangs, hidden cargoes shipped across borders, small packages passed hand to hand for a quick fix. But I'm talking about children. The million trafficked every year as child labour, soldiers and prostitutes. It's $1 billion business. You can help bankrupt it for as little as $30 a month. Join me. Play your part. Become a UNICEF global parent. Phone this number now.
When things are getting me down.
When they told me I had cancer, I was so confused. I just didn't know where to turn for help.
The Cancer Council South Australia gives real hope, real help to people living with cancer.
So I rang the cancer helpline. I wanted to know how I could get Dad through all this. They explained what to expect during and after his treatment. Just talking really helped me to understand how I could help him.
They really understand.
You surround me with hope, that's what you do.
The Cancer Council South Australia.
My mother died last year. My sisters and I live with our grandmother. We have no clean water nearby, and what I face is dirty, and it's making us sick. Grandmother has no money for medicine. She's worried that she's getting old, and who will give us when she dies?
Sponsor a child like Agnes and help provide them with the basics every child deserves. Sponsor online or call World Vision on 13 32 40.
And welcome back to Total SANFL here on this Sunday afternoon at the Hammer Homes Oval yesterday in front of 1,490 fans. They were amazingly low crowds yesterday. Central Districts withstood a massive scare from the bottom place West Adelaide, but just had enough in hand to take the result. Central 7 goals 8-50 defeating West Adelaide 5 goals 12-42. Goal kickers there for Central's Slade kicked 2 as their major goal kicker, Haynes booting 4 for West. The major possession getters on the ground, Slade 30 and Wilson 21 for Central's. Fairly low possessions all around there for the Bulldogs. For West Adelaide, Izard 35 touches and Ben Haynes 33 possessions. And joining us from the game is West Adelaide coach Wayne Weidemann. Wayne, thanks for coming in this afternoon.
No worries at all, boys.
Mate, you must have been really pleased with that. Just about everybody wrote you off in that game, including myself in the sports beat there, 61-72.
I didn't read it this week.
I'm surprised he's come in.
This is some firepaper for you, mate, later on.
Yeah.
But you must have been really happy with that because, like I said, most of us had written you off, and to be fair, you would have expected a 10-goal result. You came out and showed real heart, and with a little bit of luck and a bit of straight kicking, you could have pinched the points there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think we probably lost the game in the first quarter where we scored 5 points and I think a couple of out-of-bounds on the full. There were some goals there that were very gettable, and look, we always thought it was going to be tough going out there. We prepared ourselves for it Monday. I was not hard on the boys, but I was impressing to them that this had to be a pretty perfect game for us to play to get the win. And later on in the week, as the week went, the forecast of rain, even that was going to bring the sides together. And I back us in the wet, having seen us for the last couple of years in greasy conditions. We're pretty hard over it, and when we got there and it started raining, it probably helped us a little bit, and probably unlucky not to win.
Speaking of the rain, we'll just have a look at some of the footage from this game now, and we'll see a passage of play in a minute that sums up just exactly how wet it was with Adrian Wilson. Were you surprised that Roy Laird went in with so many tools? I mean, he had Cowan, Shell, Westhoff and Graham all in attack, all over 190 centimetres. Were you expecting they would have gone in with a smaller lineup?
Yeah, it certainly was. We did. We made a couple of changes late during the week, thinking that it was going to be wet and the ball would be played on the ground a lot more, or the game be played on the ground a lot more. And even when you get the final lineup before the start of the game, I was expecting to see one of the talls on the bench, but they did go in tall from the very start. And Mackenzie usually starts up forward, and I didn't know how they were going to fit them all in, and I thought maybe while the ball's dry early and they could get an ascendancy in the air, they might have their talls and bring them off a few minutes in or 5 minutes into the game. But Mackenzie walked to the back line, so that helped us a little bit with their worries about the talls. But I did sort of think maybe Centrals were 1-2 tall at the start of the game, which I was
Wayne, the third quarter, Central sort of took a bit of control over the game, and at three-quarter time, as you know, the blood supporters are probably thinking, well, how far are we going to get done by now? But it was a damn good last quarter effort, and like you said before, you probably could have snagged the points.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think we held Central's goalless for 40 minutes, and we were pretty proud of that fact. And it was just late, probably second half of the second term, where we probably stopped our run and perhaps overused our handball a little bit to stationary players, and probably caught us out a bit. We're getting nutted around the stoppages, and Central started to play their dictating type of style and got the runs on the board. So we knew we were close at half time. Third quarter, last time we were out there, they blew us away. We were only 15 points down there last game, and we put a pretty solid effort, but wasn't enough to be within a goal or a couple of goals. And at three-quarter time, even some of our boys were probably questioning what was going to happen, and I stress that we're still a quarter of footy to play, and we've done pretty well so far. And maybe years gone past, we could have gone down by 7 or 8. They only had to get 2 goals to our no goals in the last quarter, and the margin's 34. Would have been a pretty solid win, and disappointing for us again. But the guys stuck at it. We knew we had to kick 4 or 5 to win. It wasn't impossible. We threw the side around a little bit. We shifted young Matty Rowe with a bit of pace onto a wing, and Luke Jericho into the middle, and they got some ball and pushed it pretty hard forward. So the instruction was to get it, take off, just play dry weather footy and wet weather day, and see what come out of it. And we got close enough, and I think when there was a chance there to kick a goal with only 5 or 6 minutes to go, Benny Newbury and Walshy collided. It was a kick to 30 metres out, no one around, and I think their eyes lit up like dinner plates and banged into each other, and they took it away. But I think those are sort of things that you hope for late in the game that you can get. But early on, we probably should have had 3 or 4 goals on the board at quarter time.
Yeah, Wayne, I've been following Jeremy Jakes this season. He's been just about every different position on the ground, and I noticed he started the game on shell. How did he go on shell yesterday, and what's his season been like overall, do you think? Yeah,
look, we picked up Jeremy at the start of the season, mainly come across as a ruckman. Yep. Losing Clark to Brisbane, Dabrowski to Eagles. We had none at Christmas time, so I didn't have a real good Christmas going with ruckman. But I've known Jeremy for quite a long time, and I needed someone with a bit of grunt, and he fitted that bill. And we knew that he was probably a little bit short to be that genuine ruckman, but his competitive nature is what I wanted. And look, he served us very well for 4 or 5 weeks in the ruck. Ryan O'Sullivan started to take over, and also Matthew Craig-Saps had started taking over, and I knew Jeremy could play down back, centre half back or full back, and we've tried in those positions. I think he did a very good job on Warren last weekend, and yesterday I think he handled Shell pretty well. Shell got a lot of touches, but got a lot of them up on the wing, which I'm pretty happy to get a pretty quality forward getting touches on a wing.
There'd been a bit of conjecture, I suppose, mid-season about Ben Haynes' future at the club. Since that, he's come out and really responded so well. And yesterday, you're shifting him up forward and he kicks 4 goals. But apart from that, 33 possessions, he just works so hard around the ground. And the players do seem to walk a bit taller, knowing that they've firstly got him up forward and giving you a real heart and soul down there.
Yeah, look, I think our biggest problem that we have this year, and probably the last couple of years, is have that genuine forward to finish off our work. Now, when we got done by 119 against North, they went in 64 times to our 49. Now, 15 less entries doesn't equate to 119 points. We do need someone to finish off, and Hainesy one-on-one is very good. He works hard across that half-forward line, and he's kicking for goal is generally pretty good. Now, he had 9 shots on goal yesterday. It would have been great for him to kick 8-1. He probably would have got up, but he adds a little bit to our side up forward, and he was, I thought clearly he was best man on the ground yesterday. He went on the ball on various occasions just to give our other ruck rover a spell on the spell up forward, and he generally got all his touches across the half forward line. And I think he had kicked 2 points and 2 out in the full in the first quarter, which perhaps if he had his time over again, he probably would have slotted 3 out of those 4, and there goes that scoreboard pressure again.
Absolutely. Wayne, Izard has had a bit of a taste of AFL this year, and another okay game from him. 35 positives at least yesterday, so it just proves he's around the ball and getting a bit of clearances for you.
Yeah, look, I think he was influential about being super influential. I think a lot of guys had a lot of touches yesterday, but it was handballs just to get it going, and you rack them up pretty quick doing that way. But with Jimmy, you know what you're going to get. He's just going to be hard at it. He's going to take them on with his leg speed. He'll tackle like crazy. He does all those hard things very, very well. So we're pleased to have him. Last year he did play a lot of reserve games of footy. We've backed him in. You know, another 19, 20-year-old kid that we've got in our side that's picking up some good touches and playing some good footy for us. So the Powers see enough in him to play those 3 or 4 games. Unfortunately, he got injured and missed out, but he'll get back in, and he keeps playing like the way he does. He'll certainly cement a spot in the Power side.
I was interested to see how Ben Hollands has gone this year since he's come back to the club. How do you rate his season so far?
Look, he's been solid. Yep. Definitely solid. I think. Look, had a year off footy, come back with a few pounds overweight, and he put in a ripping pre-season and did the lot and got through it. And I think he's just been a good figure to have around the club with so many young blokes. This bloke's done it all. You know, he's got a couple of Fos Williams, and nearly got a Magarey medal. He's played a lot of senior footy and a calming influence to all our young kids. A lot of blokes go to him with advice. So, although he has been influential in the games and really dominating, he's been that good influence to have around.
It's interesting to say about the young guys at West Adelaide, because if you look at the budget in yesterday's round, the most experienced player for games for West Adelaide is the captain, David Piacenti, with just 74 games. So there's a lot of youth there at West Adelaide, and it's good to see that someone like Hollands is providing a bit of leadership. Piacenti is captain this year. Has he risen to the challenge and responsibilities?
Certainly has. I think he looked forward to it last year when a few of the guys retired and left. He was the next one probably in line. He's a doer. You know, he trained hard, he leads by example, he puts his body on the line, and some of the stuff he did yesterday certainly got us going in the first quarter, getting his head over the footy and winning the hard ball. And you know, he'll train injured, he'll play injured, he doesn't like having a night off, so go and have a night off, said don't want to be here. He's just a true West Adelaide person, and he loves being on the track, and I think you've got to have a leader like that to let the young kids know that you know, even though it's not easy all the time, you're a little bit sore, you still get out in the track and have a go.
Chris Kendall does that leadership role for us here at C31 Wayne.
Sorry, I should have laughed.
He doesn't go home at night. He's here every night doing his work.
I'm on the show hurt this morning, as a matter of fact. So. Matt Illman, I mean, 4 years ago he was trying to win a championship with the 36ers, and he's made the switch to football a la Dean Brogan. Obviously he's a work in progress still, but he came on yesterday and did a role for you with 13 hit-outs. Ordinarily you'd say that when O'Sullivan came off the ground that would have hand and sent was a clear advantage, but the kid does seem to be really trying. Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, it's a lot of blokes, myself included, and blokes that play footy have grown up with footy all their life. You know, we started the juniors and go all the way through. Now, Matty converted 4 years ago. Now, when he first came out, from all reports, and I wasn't there, it was going to be a long task. Now, he's come a long way in 4 years. Yes, he still probably hasn't got it right just yet, but I tell you what, he's another one that trains hard, wants to learn, and he's just a little bit off. I mean, once it clicks, he's going to be very good, and we know he can ruck, we know he can play centre half back, we know he can play up forward. There's still some deficiencies in his game. He needs to catch a lot more, but to put him in the ruck, we knew we were going to get a good contest.
Over the last couple of years, Wayne, there's been a big flood of players that have left. Obviously, retirees. A couple of years ago, I know West Adelaide got hit with all the juniors nicking off to the AFL. It'd probably be nice for the next couple of years to keep this crop together, so you can actually see some improvement and hopefully take the club to where you think it's going to be. Yeah, look, with any footy club, and certainly our footy club at the moment with our young list, that we need to keep them together and add to them to get our side right. You know, you lose 6, you've got to replace 6 for a start, and then get the players that your positions feel that you may be deficient in. So we need to, and I don't think anyone's going to go. I think we're all going to be sticking there together again. So hopefully we can recruit well and add
and get some depth like some of the other sides have got, and maybe we can start impressing a few sides.
Just looking at Centrals for a second, Wayne obviously still one of the powerhouses in the competition. Now the Centrals, I have a theory that while the Gowans twins are still at Centrals, they're still going to be a premiership team now. In your playing days, you were a vigorous type of player. The Gowans obviously have a similar sort of style. Every team needs some enforcers like that. Who can do that role at West Adelaide?
Probably no one at the moment.
Might be
probably no one. Look, we expect everyone to put their head over the ball and commit their body when they have to.
But who's the enforcer? Who do you would like to see supply a bit of physical strength?
Well, we probably haven't got one. Probably haven't got one. I think David Piasanti does enough as well. I think Jimmy Izard for a kid gets in and have a crack as well. I think Adrian Bonadio showed a little bit yesterday, got done for it, but I don't think there was a lot in that, and he's one that big imposing figure, and when he gets confidence, another 19-year-old kid that is probably not old enough yet to start throwing his weight around, but when he knows he can use it to his advantage, I think he will. So we probably haven't got one at the moment, but do we need one? I know we probably do. The Gowers you're talking about, but I think we just require that everyone sticks up for everyone when you have to.
Yeah, very good signs there for the Bloods, so hopefully they can put it together and pinch some more wins before the season's out. I think they're going to cause a fair bit of trouble actually to any team that takes them off their guard, as Centrals almost did yesterday. The votes in the C31 Player of the Year award for this game, 1 vote to Chris Gowans, as Rob mentioned, certainly one of the heartbeats of the team there, along with brother James, who had strained toe ligaments. That was one of the more interesting injury reports from the weekend. I'm not sure about
Harry
toe ligament. Well, it's a new one for me too. I'm not going to ask Jimmy about that one actually. 2 votes to Matthew Slade, probably in McGarry medal form also at the moment. He's just been so good this year, and he's probably having a better year than 2004 when he finished runner-up to Paul Thomas. 3 votes best player on the ground though, Ben Haynes. He really just does add such a dimension up forward to them, and as Wayne mentioned, gives them a real target to kick to, but the bonus there, 33 possessions, and he is another one that would be polling very well in the McGarry, as he is in our award also. Wayne, thanks very much for joining us on a slightly chilly afternoon here in the studio.
Yeah, no problem at all, anytime.
And good luck for the remainder of the season. Hopefully we'll get to have you on before the season is out once again. When we come back after the break, we're going to go have a look at Arctic Park, Akar Norlunga with South and Sturt, and we can just hear that groan at the end of the panel. That was from the 2 Sturt supporters that are joining me this afternoon. That is Todd Wellington and Rob Douglas. You're on C31 this afternoon with Chris Kendall, Todd and Rob.
Deborah is a very special woman, not just because she's a great mum, nor a loving daughter, but because of what she does every day. Deborah is a white lady, giving a woman's touch, a woman's care, a woman's compassion to people just like you. White Lady Funerals, a woman's understanding from very special women.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Australian Caravans, and because the boss is back, I have to push Jayco's new models. Sure, good help's hard to get, but the deals aren't.
Escape to some of the best destinations in Australia with all the comforts of home in the latest Jayco Caravan, camper, pop top or motorhome.
Jayco so easily told. Hit the road today with Jayco. Get it right and come and see why Jayco is the best value for money.
Australian Caravan Company, South Road, Edwardstown, your ticket to adventure.
And thanks for joining us once again on Total SANFL. Out at the Noarlunga Oval, apologies for calling it Arctic Park, Mark Naley, I know you'll be watching this for the luncheon next week. South Adelaide, a very accurate South Adelaide, taking a win over the Double Blues. South, 26 goals 5, 161, defeated Sturt 10-11, 71. Goal kickers there for South Adelaide. Cupido kicking 11 if you don't mind, Warren 5, Nagel 3 and Ilgerson 2 for Sturt. Chambers kicked 5, Paley 3 and Weatherald, I should say, 2 goals there. The Ball Hogs for South Adelaide. McGlone 34 possessions, Archer 30 for Sturt. Bit thin on the ground here, 3 players sharing 20. O'Keefe, Jajura and Wilson. My 2 compatriots here were at that game yesterday. Now, I heard the groans almost as far away as Prospect, boys. What happened to the Double Blues, and are South Adelaide finally, after all of these years, the real deal?
Well, are South Adelaide the real deal? They certainly looked very good yesterday. As I say, I found myself counting the cars around the ground and things like that, as you do. Actually, during the first quarter, it was raining as well and quite cold, and so the people in the cars, the windscreens are getting fogged up, the wipers are on. It was a bit like being at the drive-in, Todd, all those years ago.
They wouldn't have missed much, would they?
They wouldn't have missed much, no.
Were the windows getting fogged up in your car with Mrs D?
Well, no. Well, you're talking about the drive-in 20 years ago, or Noarlunga?
No, Noarlunga.
Oh, right.
There wouldn't have been much chance to keep your mind on the game.
No, I was in the grandstand, up at the back of the South Adelaide grandstand with the few Sturt fans that went along. Look, well done South Adelaide, like Cupido 11 goals, he is a match winner, and if South Adelaide make the grand final and Cupido is switched on, well, you've got your Jack Cody medalist there, because he killed Sturt by himself yesterday. Jajura was his opponent for the second half of the game. Jajura wasn't disgraced, he did quite a few flashy things himself, but Cupido's class and skill, if you give the guy any room or space at all, he will just do one-handed marks or weave around and snap goals from any position. So Cupido clearly best on ground with his 11 goals. Also, Chris, I might as well do the votes while I'm at it. Stephen Kenner, he got 2 votes. He killed Sturt in the first 3 quarters. He just ran him out. Quality possessions everywhere, set everything up. South had the luxury of resting Kenner for the entire of the last quarter. And 1 vote to Scott McGlone, 25 kicks and 9 handballs, and he was just everywhere as well. Sturt, yeah, they just weren't in it. And South 5 goals after 9 minutes, and the rest of the day you just sat and watched.
We normally do the votes at the end of the segment, people. So just for those that have come in late, we're not just going to do a very quick summary. As a matter of fact, we are going to have a look now at some of the footage from the game after Rob has finished mangling the order.
I might just sit here quietly, Robbie. Did you just kill that off? You wanted to pass.
but Todd, I mean, you were there also for this one. There was just Sturt were never going to be in this one, really, were they? After that initial first quarter burst there of 9 goals 1 to 1 goal 2, they just really dropped their head.
Look, 5 goals in the first 8 minutes. Look, Cupido's unbelievable. But on a day like it was, you wouldn't have thought 26 goal 5. So phenomenal kicking by South Adelaide. And also the other thing is they actually continued on from last week. They had a huge win last week. The old South Adelaide over the last few years would probably have made it a lot scrappier, and they may not have even won in previous seasons. Maybe, look, I'm not saying they're there yet, but if they make the finals, anything can happen. Also, down at Noarlunga, they've been having trouble winning. Now they're actually putting a few wins at Noarlunga together, which is so vital for this club because, like I say, it's about this time of the year, especially last year, where they actually lost their last 7 or 8 games of the year and they just slipped out of it completely. So, look, maybe, Pyman's moulding his team. They've got rid of some players that maybe didn't fit the team, rules, etc., and now they're getting a group of players that maybe can actually have a crack at this and sneak into that 4th, 5th position.
In that bit of footage there, we've seen Michael Hamby with 2 handballs already. Yesterday, 22 handballs in, and at the moment has 181, only just behind Brett Jones. Do you think that perhaps he overuses handball a touch, Robert, or is it just such a good attacking weapon for him?
Very good attacking weapon for Hamby.
I agree, because they've got so many other people that has the kicking, that do the kicking. You've got your Kenners, you've got your Clarks, McGlones, Archers. You know, if someone's willing to dish it out, like the old Brett James, I say go for it, if it's used appropriately.
Oh, their teamwork was so good yesterday. They just ran a mark and did that a lot, yeah. Actually, I think a lot of praise should go to Parry. Parry and DeLuca, the ruck duel.
Parry DeLuca had a good game, you're saying?
Parry won everything in the first quarter. He just won everything. DeLuca, he's very competitive, but I don't know about his coordination, Todd. It's a bit out of sync. I'd like to see DeLuca on the dance floor, actually. I think it'd be quite good. But no, Parry...
Apparently, James Hird, ballet, dance, he's a good footballer. What are you saying on the dance floor? What's wrong with it?
Well, I'm just saying that he's a bit
quick.
Well, I've seen you on the dance floor, and you flattened a whole row of people doing Madison one night. I saw it. So DeLuca is very competitive.
Come on, football, please.
Okay. No, Parry, a brilliant first quarter. Just too good for DeLuca, and he set everything up. And as I say, Kenner and those sorts of blokes, and Hamby, any assistance they get, they gratefully acknowledge and killed the opposition.
The disappointing for Sturt is they were never in it yesterday, but the last 3 or 4 weeks Sturt have been competitive. You know, for 2 or 3 quarters they were in front of North Adelaide by 6 goals. They had a 10-goal quarter against Central the other week to really have a crack at it.
And also they should have beaten Nord and said that in the
and then they had to win against Glenelg. So the last month has been okay, but yesterday was really, really bad. It just really showed for Sturt fans the lack of depth. I mean, yesterday they had Squire, Hurley, Feast, Bowen, Code, Bratton all out. Now I know they're not stars compared to other clubs, but when you haven't got enough depth to start with, it means that the players are coming in. I mean, they're giving the young kids an opportunity, but they're just not up to this level. And the bigger bodies of South Adelaide just said, "Yep, thank you very much."
How do you see some of these younger players with, say, less than 6 games experience? We look at guys like Davies, Wilson, May, Rishbeath. Kurtz wasn't playing yesterday, but how do you see some of these young guys now coming in and trying to adjust to it when you have an effort like that? That just does put a lot of pressure on them. How did they respond?
Well, look, you've got to start somewhere, and I think Sturt have to go. I mean, look, Sturt have been up for now for a number of years since the Premiership. They were okay in 03 and 04 as well. Their older players, their midfield especially, and even Feast, they are getting old in the midfield. They've got to start putting some people in there. Now, you're going to have some pain. You're going to have to have some pain early, and I think we're seeing that now, and probably we'll see it next year as well. As long as, like Wayne talked about his club, you've got to keep the nucleus together. So it's important for Sturt to keep these 4 or 5 guys together, and then add a few. And obviously some money will help Sturt as well.
Oh, it's one of these horrible transition years for the Sturt supporters this year that every club gets at some stage. Yep. The stars from 2002 Premiership side, they're virtually all gone.
Except for
the ones who are still there have lost a bit of pace. Yep. The younger guys have got the skills, but they haven't got the body strength yet or the experience to get the ball all the time. So it's a horrible transition year. Sturt will be right in 2007 and 2008, but unfortunately the rest of this year is just experimentation. But there are some good signs, like Will Payne up in the forward lines. Yep. He's kicked 13 or 14 goals now in 5 games of foot. He's a very straight shot for goal. He's got one of the best techniques shooting for goal I've seen. Most of his set shots for goal are going straight over the goal umpire's hat. He's dead centre every time, although now and then he does miss a sitter, but Paley has definitely got a good future. Combines well with Chambers, actually.
I was going to say, it's not the Cupido-Warren type thing, but the Paley and Chambo seem to be not a bad combination in the last couple of weeks, considering that they haven't got enough ball anyway.
Well, Chambers impressed me because in the last quarter, when there's obviously that Sturt were going to lose by a big margin, Chambers never gave up. He had a good duel with Jared Bennett, and in the end, Chambers, he finished with 5 goals and probably won his position in the end, and he doesn't give up, Chambers. He right to the very end, and his shooting for goal was also much better this year as well.
We've always said that as Sturt supporters, that once Stephen White left, there was that big man in that forward line that didn't take enough pressure off Chambers. So hopefully Paley sticks around for future years and they can get another big guy in there to contest.
Yep.
It means that you've got more opportunities for some of these guys. But take nothing away from South Adelaide. I mean, Cupido nearly scored nearly won the game by himself.
Cupido did so many party tricks as the game went on. One-handed marks coming in from the side, pack marks, just running around, feeding off a few goals. A player who was also very impressive, had a couple of good flashes, was young Alwyn Davey. He was on Michael Curtis most of the game, and sometimes he would just leave Curtis way behind for pace and get out in his own. But Curtis, to his credit, didn't give up and stuck to his man quite well. But Davey's another one who can be a match winner if given the chance.
Let's get this on the record now at round 13 to replay at the end of the season. Todd, from what you've seen so far, where will South Adelaide finish at the end of the year, and what will happen if they do get into the finals?
I think South can make it. I think we know Glenelg is shaky now. And I know you're not going to like this, but I think Nord are gone. Look, if Nord have a fluky win today, maybe, but I still think South have probably got more weapons on dry weather on Amy Stadium. With Cupido, Warren up forward, they've got Clark and Kenner and Sampson, and they've got a lot more options. Look, they won't get top 3, but certainly 4th, 5th is certainly possible. They could certainly, they could scare a few teams.
Robert.
Phil Herden's media guide has me down for saying South Adelaide would come 9th this year. That was a misprint. My apologies to all those
It's only taken to round 13 to correct it too.
Yeah, so apologies to all the readers out there.
So you're on board, aren't you?
That's right.
We're on the bandwagon.
Yeah, that revving sound at the back's the bandwagon Rob's about to jump on.
Right, yes. So that's a very crucial misprint as it turned out. But, no, I think South will definitely make the finals this year now. I have Central's, Eagles, North and South as your top 4 this year. All 4 teams are good enough to make the grand final. I'm leaning towards South Adelaide maybe missing out this year, but going on with it next year to make the grand final.
And you didn't even say Port in that sentence, but we all tip Port to be maybe top 2, top 3 with everything that's going on. Well, I know most of C31, very competent people here at C31 thought Port were going to be up there, but last week's effort was a really bad one, and they obviously need to turn around today, but that's an interesting one. So Port will still make the finals though, Robbie, won't they?
No.
Not even make the finals?
No.
Who's in? Nord?
No, I'll make that answer as I go along. Yeah.
Oh, take it up as we go along.
So Porter about to miss the finals.
You're joking me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the opinions of Robert Douglas are not necessarily those of the remainder of the C31 panel. I don't think they're going to miss the finals, Rob.
Don't worry, I said Centrals were gone, so...
Do you want a useless bit of trivia? South Adelaide's score of 26 goals 5 is the only occasion that score has been kicked in the SANFL game yesterday.
The only occasion 26-5?
Yep.
Ever.
First time ever.
There's one that would come in very handy.
Useless stats.
Well, that would come in very handy at a SANFL quiz night. And now for a very neat segue.
You should throw to that.
Very great thank you to the Sturt Football Club that invited us along to their quiz night on Friday night. We had a C31 table with some of the people that you see on the panel here today. Now, we're not normally given to bragging about those results, and at the end of the day, often who wins doesn't really matter. But Rob, just refresh my memory as to who was the winning table on the night.
The winning table on the night, the captain of the C31 team was Chris Kendall here. He wanted to call the team Kendall. No, Chris, you cannot call the team Kendall. Call the team C31, please. And so he compromised for Team 31 or something like that.
Big, isn't he?
That's right.
It's going to his head.
But Team Kendall, it was a good night. Well hosted by Daryl Smith. Well done, Daryl. Great job hosting the show. And also congratulations to John Lissakatis and Brian Warren have organised the night very well for the Sturt Footy Club. But good crowd, about 80 or 90 people. No, Team Kendall, we did get up in a close one. Todd, did you know that Jeff Motley was watching Bonanza on TV the night he won the 1964 McGarry medal, which means that you can actually watch Bonanza now on C31, Chris?
Now there's a 6 degrees of separation.
That's right, yes.
You can say that you're linked to Jeff Motley by watching the same episode that he won the McGarry medal.
That's right, yeah.
So we are all linked to a McGarry medalist.
That's right, and Bonanza interstate viewers, check your local guides for when it's on. But no, it's a top night, and Chris Kendall, you answered quite a few good questions on the night, I thought, to John Nankerville, Phil Hurd and myself. We all played very well.
It was an all good team, and of course from Bill Bagshaw also. So thanks very much to Bill. Fellas, this isn't the end of the tough questions. Now, we're introducing a new segment here called Under the Pump, where I'm going to ask each of you a question, and you each have 15 seconds to answer with a reason. Starting with yourself, Robert, who was more disappointing yesterday, Glenelg against the Roosters or Sturt against the Panthers?
Sturt against South.
Todd, of the following, which forward would you pick in your SANFL fantasy team? Brant Chambers, Ben Warren or Damien Cupido, and why?
I would say Ben Warren for consistency.
Wrong.
Robert, what's the hardest stat to believe? Port have lost 3 in a row, South have won 3 in a row, or South have won 3 in a row at Noarlunga?
South have won 3 in a row at Noarlunga.
Why?
Because they never used to have a home ground advantage before, but the introduction of the cars and the Panther roar has turned the club around. Can't beat that Panther roar.
Todd, if you're a Westies fan, what would be your overriding emotion from yesterday? Furious with a missed opportunity for an upset, happy with a competitive effort, or relieved it wasn't a massacre?
No, happy with competitive effort, to be honest. I think Wayne certainly said that as well. I think with a bit more luck and maybe a spearhead, they would have won the game.
Rob, how many goals will North and South kick between them next week? 36 or above, or 35 or below, and why?
Well, which venue are they playing at? This affects my answer.
Got him.
As a professional, I need to have all the
memory,
information.
It always helps to have this. They're playing at Prospect.
Playing at Prospect, 36 and above. It's a nice sunny day, as both teams have no defence at all. They will just go all-out attack. Cupido versus Gill. It's going to be a shootout.
It's going to be worth the drive down to Prospect there.
Certainly.
Todd, yes or no? After losing 5 of their past 6, is Mark Micken safe at Glenelg?
Yes.
Why?
Oh no! I think
you can't just say yes.
Yeah, come on.
No, look. The reasoning is, I think you sign somebody on, you give them 2 or 3 years to start with. They've had a lot of changes. I think Mark's shown a bit of faith in some of the youngsters. We'll see a better in 2007 and 2008.
That's not much of an answer. That was all full of cliches. That answer.
It's a footy show. It's cliches, isn't it?
He's taking it 1 week at a time, too, people. Who is the better ruckman at the moment, Rob? Paul Lindsay or Craig Parry?
Oh, Craig Parry yesterday, from what I saw. He was outstanding yesterday. Craig Parry, easily.
Todd, who will be Nord's leading goal kicker this year from an illustrious group? Robbie de Jong on 19, Vlatko 17, Borlace 15, Campbell and Bartamucci 13, or Stuart Bown on 12?
Who cares? Oh, sorry, no. De Jong, probably late 20s he'll kick. Not much.
He's actually already getting a bit of a cult following with the Nord fans.
He is the big fella.
They have taken to him.
Robert, yes or no? Having won 5 in a row, will the Bulldogs finish the minor round with their 6th straight minor premiership?
No.
Why?
Because the Eagles are going to finish top.
That's right, yeah. Not even North. Do you think North have...
No, I'm on the Eagles this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who is the more impressive rookie forward, Todd? Will Paley or Justin Westhoff?
Oh, well, Paley for sure. No bias involved.
Excuse me. Have you seen Paley play this year in the flesh?
Yeah, I have actually.
All right, okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah, well done.
Rob, yes or no? Will all SANFL coaches be in the same roles next year?
Maybe.
Yes or no, Robert?
Are we keeping track of these answers?
I don't think all 9 will be in the same jobs next year.
No chance.
That's right.
No chance.
Okay, who's not going to be in their job?
B. Phillips. Oh, sorry, Robbie.
And any reason why?
No, I just think, like I said earlier on, I think he's in his last season as coach. I actually signed on, and I just think there's a bit of pressure from underneath coming up.
I actually think the article in yesterday's Advertiser where Brenton, I'm a big fan of Brent Phillips, but he has made it quite clear, his quote in the paper was, I'm enjoying coaching, but to continue, it'll have to fit in with the family and work commitments to me.
You've got to be a bit more than half time.
I think the Sturt are about to start a new era.
Yep.
I think maybe a reserves coach like Brodie Atkinson, who yesterday, Sturt bottom reserves, played South Adelaide, who was second, kept South Adelaide to just 1 goal in the reserves match at Noarlunga Oval.
Why Brodie Atkinson?
Because he's doing very well as reserves coach, and he's very popular, knows all the players, and he's a great assistant to Brenton with the league team at the moment.
And
Chris.
lastly, which game will you drive to see next week? North and South at Prospect or Eagles and Centrals at Woodville?
Is this for Todd or me?
For both of you.
North and South at Prospect will be a great game.
No, Eagles and Centrals.
Fantastic, I'll be down there covering it. We'll see you down there.
No worries.
We'll come back after the break and have a look at the big game today, Port versus Norda Alberton. You're on Total SANFL with Chris Kendall, Todd Wellington and Robert Douglas.
For over 2 million Australians, this is how it can feel to have an asthma attack. If it was happening to someone close to you, would you know how to help? Call this number and find out how you can give some much-needed relief to millions of people with asthma.
I'm Adam Spencer. I took a challenge that took me to the top of the world, and you can too. When you raise funds to help the Fred Hollows Foundation, you can be rewarded with an adventure holiday to Nepal, Vietnam or Outback Australia. And you'll be helping to improve the health of Indigenous Australians and restoring sight to people who are needlessly blind. To learn more about the See the World Challenge or to find out how your company can get involved, phone the Fred Hollows Foundation on 1800 352 352 or visit hollows.org.
In 50 years' time, the number of young people in South Australia will fall. The number of people aged over 65 will be more than double. So more of us will need help. More of those caring for us will need help. So where do you go? How do you find out more? Seniors Information Service can help. If you're looking for accommodation options, Seniors Information Service provides up-to-date residential aged care and retirement village vacancy registers for South Australia. Seniors Information Service can help with information to assist older people to continue living in their own homes. Seniors Information Service can help with rights and entitlements, legal matters, health information and retirement lifestyle. You can contact Seniors Information Service on 8232 1441 or take a look at the website. It has a wealth of information that will assist older people, their families and their carers. Seniors Information Service can help.
And welcome back to the home stretch here of Total SANFL. This afternoon's big game is at Alberton Oval, where Port Adelaide, who have got the staggers in the last few weeks, meet a team that is trying their hardest to get that 5th spot also in the Red Legs. Let's have a look at the teams from the back line. Port Adelaide: King, Morrison, Lochan, halfbacks, Eilert, Baird, Butcher, centre, Biarchi, De Pasquale, Polton, half forwards, Dolling, Archie and Carr. Forwards, Waterhouse, possibly, Mark Clayton and Elston in the other pocket. First ruck, Michael John, Kingsley, Jay Clayton, possibly. Interchange at this stage is Harry, Slattery, Bates and Davis. Coming into the 22 is Waterhouse and Jay Clayton, possibly, and Harry, and also coming out of that team is Jenner and Luby. For Nord, the back lines, Duggan, Zorzi, B. James, halfbacks, Lower, Jackman, Thomas, centre lines, Hughes, Culpit, Gallagher, half forwards, Bartamucci, Bown, Campbell, forward lines, Koshel, Vlatko, Carslake, first rucks, Meeson, Sandery and Borlace. The interchange at this stage is from Nicholas, Crouch, Brinoli, Vassell and De Jong. Coming into the 23 are Zorzi and De Jong. Fellas, a huge game here for Port Adelaide, particularly if a couple of names don't line up.
So you've got a few spies down there, have you, at Alberton? What have you got?
From what I understand, one of, if not both of those players will not line up this afternoon.
Well, if that's the case, knowing how much ball Norwood do usually get in a low-scoring game anyway, probably with the weather. Oh, actually, that's quite sunny at the moment, but oh, gee, I tell you what, it's a 107-point loss last week. Means it's a long way back for Port Adelaide in this game.
Been showing some ordinary signs the last 3 weeks now. That is West Adelaide and Centrals, and there was South Adelaide last week, of course. These are a huge game here for Port Adelaide because their legitimacy as premiership contenders is seriously on the line, Robert.
It certainly is. Looking at the ladder, Port Adelaide just hanging on to 5th spot at the moment. Jeremy Clayton, I think, holds the key to the game. If he plays, I would tip Port Adelaide, but Waterhouse is obviously a crucial player as well, but it's going to be a cold, low-scrambly, low-scoring sort of game. I'm leaning towards Clayton not playing, which means, therefore, I swing towards Nord winning just because they get so much of the ball that sooner or later, a random chance kicking for goals, someone has to kick some goals for Nord to get there.
You're not just doing that for our host, are you?
No. Actually, our host is he shouldn't be here at the moment. He should be home under the blood rule. Hold your thumb up to the camera.
Yeah, yes, we just had a slight lead halfway through. Like I said, I'm hosting Hurt today.
Wayne Weidemann gave a bit of a pinch.
That's right.
Thanks, Wayne.
So Team Kendall, he's charging on. He shows no fear. But no, I think Jeremy Clayton's the key to the game. If he plays, Port Adelaide in a close one. If he doesn't play, I think Nord in a close one. I think Clayton is that good.
Can Nord manufacture enough goals to win?
Yes.
I think you can, just because I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. If Waterhouse and Jeremy Clayton had a couple of weeks under their belt, maybe not, because usually at Albion I would pick Port without thinking, but I too are probably thinking the same way at the moment.
I think Nord something like 7 goals 13 defeat Port, 5 goals 10, something like that.
Even though I was travelling down here this morning and it was beautiful sunny skies, so I don't know whether there's a bit of rain coming later, but certainly if it does get at all wet, Norwood gets so much of the ball usually anyway with their smaller players. It'll just go forward and they'll kick some off the ground, I suppose, because no one else is kicking on goals anyway.
Probably got an advantage in the ruck too, Nord, if anything else. If Micklejohn did happen to go down, it's very hard to see who would ruck there. If Meeson and Nicholas both line up, that gives them a real edge.
Meeson's taken a long time.
If again.
Well,
Micklejohn could play a really good game.
Micklejohn could. Micklejohn is the key to things, though. He is
what if Meeson goes down?
He's rucking but if Meeson goes down, they've still got Nicholas. Who is going to ruck if Micklejohn did happen to get in?
They'll play Baird or Morrison.
In the ruck.
Baird or Morrison.
Todd.
You're just pulling names out there, Mr.
Trent Orman-Allen, remember that? Orman-Allen against St Kilda. He played as that very small ruckman.
Excuse me, sir. Todd, you and I have had many healthy debates on Meeson over the years from the time that he was drafted when the Crows took him ahead of Angus Monfries. What do you think of Meeson now 2 seasons later? Has he been worth it?
Big guys always develop a lot.
Like yourself, yes.
Yeah, we take a bit longer to develop.
Right, okay.
However, no, we stuffed up.
Although, no, Meeson, his game against Sturt at Nord Oval 2 Saturday nights ago was probably the best game I've seen him play for Nord, so he is getting there.
Yes.
But
knowing we've got Marich and Griffin are on the Crows list, I think Monfries would have been a good get. I think Monfries is showing some great signs for Essendon, and he's badly missed.
But Meeson is coming good, and I expect Meeson to play well today. Nord in close one, I haven't changed my mind.
Rob, Todd, your tip in this one?
Yeah, look, Nord in a close game. I think there's too many doubts on Port Adelaide at the moment.
Yep, a lot of doubts.
Yeah, they're in real trouble.
Nord in a very close one there by 1 to 12. In fact, let's have a look at the premiership table as it stands at the moment. North Adelaide on top, 1 game clear of the Eagles, Centrals and South. Port, of course, to play today. If they do win that one, they can move into 4th spot. Glenelg, Nord also have a chance of moving into the 5. That low percentage may come back and hurt them later on down the track. Sturt and West, you would say, would be fighting it out for bottom spot at the moment on the premiership ladder. Let's have a look at the club corner and find out what your clubs are up to this week. And the aforementioned Magpies are having Magpie Idol on Saturday the 15th of July. Todd, I know you can't wait for this one. You'll be up on stage doing that.
Oh, woohoo, achy breaky heart. Here you come.
Starts at 8 p.m. on the 15th of July. $40 per person. Includes beer, wine, soft drinks and nibbles. Come and see the players if you've never seen them before. That's a phrase that always strikes fear into my heart, I'll tell you what, because you never know what you're about to get with these sorts of things. Unite with the Black and White, become a member in 2006. They're very close to their membership target of 3,200. Membership packages available from only $40. And the major auction on Friday the 4th of August at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Tickets $85 per person, includes 3-course meal, wines, beers, Coke and soft drinks, entertainment by the Flaming Sambucas and Dancing with the Stars. No doubt Rob and Todd will both be there for that one, dancing the samba or possibly a nice cosy waltz around the floor for both of them. At West Adelaide, the annual gala banquet auction is Saturday, July the 29th at the Shores Complex. 3-course meal, Hardy's wines and West End beers. Tickets $65 per person. The Westonian Ball, Saturday, August the 26th at the Hyatt Regency Ballroom, $125 per person. Pre-dinner drinks, 2-course meal, beer, wine and champagne and soft drinks, and a 15-piece at Big Band playing the sort of music that Todd just loves. And the Balaclava Cup is on Wednesday, August the 30th. Tickets $110 per person and the bus leaves at 8:30. You can book all of those events at the club, 83524022. Also, Nord have their Hall of Fame night coming up on August the 12th. This is going to be an absolutely magnificent night out there for the Nord Football Club. I cannot wait for this one at the Convention Centre. 128 years of history will be used to recognise and enshrine those Nord identities. Ring Dominic or Karina at the club, 8362 6278 for bookings. Robert.
I suppose they're going to relive the 1978 Premiership, aren't they?
Oh, where Phil Gallagher was one of the most influential players on the ground.
Okay, program next week, Eagles' next home game. They're playing Central Districts next Saturday, July the 8th. That game is going to be proudly sponsored by Hills Industries. Hills Industries are donating $1 for every person walking through the gate to the Eagles Central's game next week, to the Christmas party for special children. Please come along and support this great charity. So get behind that one, Todd. The Eagles and Centrals, sponsored by Hills Industries.
No worries.
And the Sturt Football Club, they're having a big night next Friday night. They're having the 1926, 1966 and 1976 Premiership reunion dinner. I don't think many of the guys from 26 will be there, Todd, but all the players from 66 and 76 Premiership teams will be there, and they're also combining that with the second Hall of Fame induction. So come and join past players for a night of history, celebration and fun next Friday night, the 7th of July at the Park Convention Centre at Amy Stadium. If you're interested to go along, call the Sturt Football Club for more details on 8271 4611. Who's going to be added to the Sturt Hall of Fame, Todd? It could be Wayne Johnston.
It could be. Look, just quickly, the Roosters will be hosting a sportsman night with ABC radio cricket commentator and funny man Kerry O'Keefe on the 25th of August in the Function Room at Prospect. Bookings are essential, so please contact the club, 8344 8733. That's 8344 8733 for a good night.
Well, that wraps us up for another week of Total SANFL here on C31. Rob, thank you very much for making the long journey down to join us today.
Well, will you stop bleeding on me? Your bleeding's out of control. It's been great being on here, Chris. Thank you once again. Unfortunately, the 2 times I've been on this year have coincided with very heavy Sturt losses, so hopefully the next time I'm due on the roster, though, I'll get to celebrate a Sturt win, but thanks.
And Todd, thank you also for joining us today.
Look, no worries. I think I've been
useful.
Useful? Everyone's making a bit of fun of me today. I'm disappointed.
Just before you go, and we are getting the wind up, gentlemen, can you please show us your socks that you're currently wearing?
Socks?
This is well worth the trip down for anyone to see. Look, have a look at this.
Oh, a bit of leg there.
Have a look at that.
Look, I did ring in this morning and we thought we'd dress appropriately.
Welcome to Total SANFL.
We hear that with a studio temperature of minus 10 degrees, you've got to dress smartly.
Well, we didn't ask you to show your underpants, thank goodness for that there, because that would have been a very interesting sight for all and sundry. That wraps us up for another week here on Total SANFL. I'm Chris Kendall. We'll see you at the game next week. Don't forget to join us Tuesday night for SANFL Insight when we have a chat to all-time legend and triple Magarey medalist Lindsay Head. But that's it for another week. Goodbye for now.